Hello, welcome to new gameplay today. I am your host, Wesley LeBlanc, and today we're going to be talking about a game I'm very excited to showcase called Saturnalia. It's a super exciting, very strange, very different and unique indie horror game coming from the studio known as Saturnalia. And they are based in Italy, and this game is based in Italy, and it is shaping up to be something really exciting, I think. So as you can see, the main highlight of this game, in my opinion, is the art style or the visual style. It's somewhere between like clay animation or stop motion graphics, and then this like strange sketchbook type of style. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, I love it. I think it plays wonderfully into the aesthetics of this game and the horror aspects of it. And so we are controlling a character named Anita, and she is one of multiple playable characters. She's the one we're going to be showcasing today, but there are other characters you can play as. And basically her kind of main objective in the game is to find her lover or husband. I'm not actually sure if they're married yet, but her partner nonetheless. And this is on a very special day in this town. There was a mass, and then, which is why she's in the church. And then everyone kind of disappears or like goes into their house for a reason. And that reason seems to be related to a strange occult ritual where a bird, demon, owl thing with horns kind of stalks the streets looking for victims. You don't really get to see the monster that kind of stalks around the town too up close. But it's a very unique design. Kind of looks like a large person wearing like a cape made of feathers with like an owl face maybe and some horns or something. I don't know. You'll kind of see it pass by. And so as you can hear, the that rattling kind of sounds like one of those like baby toys that rattles. That plays when the monster is near. And so when you hear that, you want to either slowly go somewhere to hide because you don't want to alert the monster with your feet, or you want to find a place to hide, which I just showed Anita doing. And if you're in there, I think you're safe. I haven't actually been attacked by the monster while in there. I don't think there's a way to make noise in there and kind of alert the monster to your position. I suppose if the monster watches you, get into a hiding spot, it might be able to get you, but that hasn't happened to me yet. And so, yeah, we're kind of walking around this church, which is one of the big, focus points of this small town in Italy. And you're trying to find your husband or lover, partner. Again, I can't remember. And you think he's upstairs, but you have to find a way to get up there. So as you can see, I'm kind of walking around the church trying to figure out exactly how to do that. I should note I'm about 3 to 4 hours into this game. There won't be too much by way of spoilers or really any spoilers. I'm not going to be diving too much into what I've already done story-wise, and I'm not going to be showcasing too much of the story here. I'm just kind of here today on New Gameplay Today to give you a glimpse at what this game is doing and how it plays. And so one cool aspect of this game that I think is super unique for the horror genre is that it's kind of a roguelike. I don't know if you could, technically refer to it as a roguelike, but every time you die, your character is like permanently dead. And so at that point, you'd switch over to one of the other playable characters. And if all playable characters die, the town will completely shift. So it's very labyrinthian. It's like a giant maze. And each time you lose all your characters, the town's setup is completely changed. And so you'll keep your progress, like the clues you've unlocked, the shortcuts you've made, and all that kind of stuff. But you'll have to find where everything is repositioned. And I think that's a super unique thing to do in horror because, part of horror is the ambiance and the atmosphere and feeling like you're in an unknown place that you don't really have a grasp on. And this game continues to keep doing that by constantly shifting the town around you. And so you can see we just used like a little electrical tool That took me a really long time to get my hands on. And it's been super helpful. Helps me turn on lights, helps me open gates that are previously locked, helps me get into this school, which was previously locked to me. In very Resident Evil or survival horror fashion, like you're going to be collecting plenty of tools and objects that will help you in one place and then help you in another place and kind of act as ways to open up shortcuts. And I love that about this game. I love, that classic Resident Evil feel where you know where you got to go, but you can't yet get into there. You can't yet get there. And so instead, you're going to have to do this giant, loop around to get where you're needed to go. Maybe that involves finding a tool that you don't yet have. And then when you go to find the tool, it turns out you need to find something else before you can get the tool. And then to get that something else, you have to talk to somebody and do this for them. And it kind of just builds on each other to the point where you're kind of on this long quest to find this, and that so that you can finally do this. And so as you can see here on the menu, these are all of my clues. I feel like I'm nearing the end of the game, or at least halfway through, based on how filled out my screen is. And yes, this screen is pretty stressful, especially to look at if you haven't played the game. When I first started and was building, my clue set by picking up clues and stuff, and they would appear on that little screen, it was a little confusing and a little stressful, but now that I'm 3 to 4 hours in, it all kind of makes sense. I feel like a amazing detective, piecing together this story and seeing the way that all the clues interact with each other and how they build on each other is one of my favorite parts of the game. And so as you can see, every time you collect a clue or an object or something like that, it goes into your bag. That little thing I just collected was a firecracker or noisemaker, which you can put into like little, magazine or newspaper holders on buildings. And they make a loud noise, which I suppose you could use to distract or, entice the monster to come to you. I haven't really used that too much. To be honest, when I hear the little baby rattler noise that lets me know the monster's coming, I am on my way out immediately. It's very scary to hear that noise. It gets louder and louder as it gets closer. And because there's no combat in the game, you're kind of, your only option is to hide or run. And so that aspect of the horror of this game has been really great for me. And so, yeah, you can see that we just found the Saturnalia projection. If you're familiar with Saturnalia or the word Saturnalia, you might have an idea of what this game is about. And so, yeah, each clue, as you can see, actually, 1 second, the monster is right on our tail. As you can see, that sound is alarmingly loud and terrifying. And I'm being hunted. Let's see what happens. So we're going to use the classic horror move, which is stand still and do nothing and just hope that the monster goes away. Please go away, monster. You are scaring me. So as you can see, the monster is quite relentless when they're on your tail, but they do eventually disappear, and I think they just kind of, reappear somewhere else in the town. It's not like, oh, the monster's gone. He's somewhere around here, or there's somewhere around here. At least in my experience, I've found that once the monster leaves, I'm free to kind of walk around and do my thing again. So as you can see, we've got the match lit. The match is probably the most important tool in your disposal. This town is extremely dark, as you can see, and the matches light up the way. More importantly, throughout the town are little campfires, or they're basically small little bonfires for part of the mass that is happening in town on this specific day. But that translates as, permanent lights for you in the town. And so it's important to be, to keep matches on you at all times, because you're going to need them. You go into dark places like schools, mines, castles. All these places are dark. And then you also need to have a match to light a campfire that you might find on the ground. So as you can see, we're back at the church. I have a hunch of what I should be doing. And let's check it out and see what we do. Ooh, one thing I want to note is each note, you see how it's kind of rotating in the top right corner and now on the main screen. Each note, you can kind of view the area where you found it, and that kind of lets you know, oh, okay, I need to go find this ladder. Let me look around the environment that this ladder's in. Let me see if I can recognize that wall or that poster board, or, you know, there's clues in each of these to kind of give you an idea of where to go. Because at the end of the day, this game is really just walking around and finding where you need to go to get clues. So as you can see, the creature must be deep underground, and that's kind of like a little viewpoint into the creature's nest. And we've got all kinds of clues like that. As you see, there's like dozens on the screen. And each one has like a little line that connects to this and that, and you have this giant sprawling network of clues to help you solve this central mystery. For now, though, Anita's mystery is, how do I break into the part of the church I have not yet reached? And so fortunately, we're going to go around here to the scaffolding. I don't want to spoil too much about the characters or the central story of this game, but I will say that Anita is not from this town, but she has returned for a reason. Other characters you'll find include, you know, a younger, like, teenage girl. There's a, you know, another guy who's probably in his 20s. There's Anita's, you know, lover that you do find. There's other characters as well. It's not pictured or shown here in this footage, but there is a... Oh. Let's let this play out. As you can see, I've tripped an alarm, and the monster is immediately hot on my tail. If you make any kind of loud noise like that, that monster's coming for you. And here we're going to get a quick glimpse of it. Spooky. Ooh. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a person wearing like a cape and mask or something. I'm not too sure, but it's terrifying, especially in this art style, especially with that loud noise in my ears. I'm loving that aspect of it. It's almost like a, I don't want to say Mr. X, because they're not constantly searching for you, or at least it doesn't feel like that in the way that Mr. X does from Resident Evil 2, but it is a giant stalking figure that will, you know, if you mess up and accidentally make too much noise, they're coming for you. And so it was necessary for us to trip that alarm, because now we can access these stairs that drop down. So we're going to head up the scaffolding and see what happens. You can see at the bottom there's like a little stamina bar. To be honest, I haven't really paid much attention to it. I don't know if like later in the game you do a lot more running, but I rarely run so much that I don't need the stamina. On that note, there are items that like refill your stamina immediately. So perhaps there's areas of the game where I'm going to be using that sprint a lot more. 4 hours in, though, I've not really had to worry too much about it. And I'm not sure if I referred to her partner as Paul earlier, but it's Damiano. I believe Paul is a different playable character. And so we have finally made it inside the church. This is an area of it I have not yet accessed. So let's see what we find. Just to go over a few more specifics of this game as we you know, reach the end of this segment of New Gameplay Today. Saturnalia is a game coming out sometime in 2022 on the Epic Game Store. It is being developed and published by Santa Ragione, and it is set in Sardinia, Italy. And so I wanted to quickly jump ahead and show you Anita being killed by the monster. And that's going to do us for today. As always, thank you for watching this new gameplay today, and be sure to subscribe to the official YouTube channel for Game Informer to catch more NGTs, video essays, reviews, features, and more. Bye now.